I wanted to conjure this little lecture in order to proceed with Chaldeana. As we see, this is the Neoplatonic Chaldean version derived from Chaldean oracles, in which we have the delta structure 3 to third power starting from the visible suns, the visible stars, through the divine fire that encapsulates all, that is parallel to this, and pure light and pure emptiness that is mirrored in positive emptiness of the worlds below. What are the worlds below? Well, in occult metaphysical understanding, below the visible star, the Helios, there is the black sun in the fields of Azot or tunnels of Seth, the Schwarze Sonne. That is where the initiation takes place, and that is the so-called abysmal pierce through, or togal in Buddhist ideas, the pierce through with the understanding, although these two systems are not comparative exactly. So the black sun, we may speculate, we may understand it in such a manner, descends into formless chaos. And from this formless chaos, original prima materia apeiron was formed in the same manner as in the pure emptiness. So we have the highest teletactic pure emptiness, the apeiron here. Then it says beyond all comprehension, nothingness as absolute positivity. It is non-dual duality, the whole model, very much resonating with the Advaita philosophy schools in India. The pure light, or the hyperionic, would be the pure manifestation, divine radiance, nous, divine mind, and then the divine fire encapsulating also the matter as the world soul, Hecate world soul, that we may call the ion in the particular one star thing. Of course, stars are in motion, everything is in change. Let's treat it as a manifestation of this motion and change. So the below, the subsolar fractional immanent triad, as the Chaldeans believe the world is made of triads, divine triads. So the positive emptiness mirrored to the highest teletactic layer, the lowest one, a void within the world rather than beyond it, immanence of transcendence. Then the formless chaos, matter before form, prima materia of alchemy, unmanifested potential, the womb of form, the tiamatic womb that needs to be ordered by the Mardukian principle, and the hidden transmutation energy of the inner sun, the black sun, the Azot fire, also the Nigredo phase of alchemy, the descent, inversion of divine fire, transformation through dissolution. What is interesting that in this idea the matter is not evil, it is a rectification principle. It is a hidden expression of the highest, and emptiness, the divine positive emptiness, the sunyata, is both the alpha and omega. So what I wanted to bring your attention towards is a little diagram that I conjured in order to understand the world through four-part structure. So it is generalizing the interaction of animal and human components in the ensouled Hecatic world soul world image. At the basis we have what is the simplest thing. We as animals, as humans, civilizationally are processing matter, symbol as homo symbolicus, and information. So between our minds, between our physicality, between the evolution, physiological, our mind and physis is transforming the environment. Nature likes to hide, and it is transforming the environment. We are a part of nature, therefore that is how it is effectuating. Now, what do we have between the physiological and psychosexual? We have life, or procreation, and the multiplication of life. Now, what is here? As I mentioned, transformation of terrestrial affairs, power games, noospheric physiological, and the techniques that are associated in the rectification of evolution and procreation, sublimation of erotica, Aphrodite genetics, So sex magic, Kundalini rising, Ophitic techniques, Draconian techniques, and winging of the soul itself, which is inbuilt in life as if embodied. Yoga training, gymnosophy, and so on, so on. Now, what do we have at the cross of psychosexual and pneumatic? Pneumatic being the daimonic, the rectified. Souls. Souls also are linked with life, and the goal is the Eleusinian initiation. Eleusinian as a general frame for descending to Hades, rectifying the spirit, creating a daimonic element, and rejoining the procession of the gods. So this is the refinement of the soul into spiritual immortality. Souls, as mentioned in other lecture, are variable and perishable. Now what is immortal is the rectified daimon, the spirit. So we have the generative descending self-incorporation of the world. I am not an emanationist, I am a generationist. That means that the world encloaked, envaulted, embodied itself in the world. You call it the divine divinities, the monadic enterprises. There was no, let's say, an intelligent entity that created the world. This is more like a process of generation of a divine machinery that, through rectification of its elements and intelligences, the first gods, goddesses, the stars, started taking on the characteristics of its contained, what it contained. And in such a way it created a living, feeling, intellecting, great living soul of the universe. Now, between the noospheric and pneumatic, between the mind, the intellect, rectified intellect, and the daimonic element, we have the astralistic part, the stellar part. So what is the goal here? In various schools it is the union, the transcendent. In some Hindi ideas to make your consciousness spaceless, timeless, to go beyond space, beyond time, being in multiple spaces at once, in multiple times at once. Existence or cessation, as in Buddhist schools, nirvana, becoming parinirvana, because nirvana is equated to samsara, it is still within the cycle. Parinirvana is purifying yourself into this emptiness, shedding the veils, shedding all the motions that we've cast throughout the world with our movements, both intellectual, emotional, let's say samskaric. And this is the intelligible world soul here, and intelligences, meaning the spiritual counterparts, embodied or not, of various world systems throughout the trichiliocosm. Again, a Buddhist concept. So this part on the right side that I presented is vertical. But it is not really vertical because the center is everywhere, right? The vertical explanation is similar to the explanation of Tetractys, Pythagorean Platonic Tetractys, Platonizing Pythagoras. You may explain certain things from the monad to the decad by geometry, by symbolization, by linking it with myth, by geometrizing divinities. The divine tends to geometrize. However, it is only that you learn the particulars in order to reknot and understand the whole and incorporate this understanding within, and then pursue rituals, ceremonies, rites, performative actions, magical actions, occult actions, and so on, so on. So we have to learn from the basis and proceed, because that's how our mind works. We cannot have a flash of understanding of everything. We educate ourselves, elementary knowledge, brick by brick, hermetic brick by hermetic brick, and we build that pyramid, right? We build that ziggurat. And only then the final architectural component as completed we may see, understand. So, in as much as this is a vertical understanding. This is a more horizontal yet holistic understanding of the whole picture. Of course, this is a gross oversimplification, but otherwise it wouldn't be explained at all. Now, you may say that in the Socratic irony, there are things you cannot speak about, but nevertheless you must attempt to speak about hidden things, occulted things, in order to spread understanding, even if at the minima, Giordano Bruno minima and maxima. So it is necessary to elucidate certain frameworks of reference and models in order to proceed, because otherwise we have no coordinates, we move in the blind, we move in chaos. So that is what I wanted to posit today. Thank you.